Hey, hello again. This is Heather. Again, I'm just going to wait for some people to start joining. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it through another week. Hope you're having a great day, great week. Now, if you can see me and you can hear me, or just want to let me know that you're here, maybe send a like or a comment. Today's stream is going to be a little different, quite different than what we've been doing so far. Today we're going to do some restorative yoga and using just things you have around your house. Most people don't have yoga props on that scale in their own homes, so we're going to make do with what we can find around the house, and it's going to be just as good. So I'm going to take a few moments and just let more people start to join. This first time that you watch this, you might just want to kind of watch it and gather the information and then come back and do the practice. But if you are feeling really enterprising and you want to just get it right in there and do it with me right now, then I'm going to send you on a scavenger hunt around your house. And I want you to find pillows. So all different kinds of pillows. You can grab one of the pillows from your bed. If you have any kinds of very similar pillows, especially if you have couples matching sets of pillows, grab a couple of those. And then just different random sizes of pillows, different firmness. Here's another good one. This is a nice long kind of round pillow. And also, really important, I want you to grab some of the couch cushions off of your couch. Hopefully they come off of your couch. Maybe you have a chair that has cushions that you can steal. Just try to get the biggest, most firm cushion that you can find. Now I'm kind of lucky. My sectional has several of these big cushions that actually are almost the same size as the bolsters that we use in the studio. So just kind of go around your house, gather pillows, couch cushions. Now, unless you have blocks at home, you can use your blocks, of course. If you don't have blocks, then grab some books. And again, a few different sizes is okay. Try to maybe get them in matching sets. Not totally a deal breaker if you can't, but nice big, really firm books. So I grabbed a couple of cookbooks, and then I have these little square books. So just depending on ultimately what happens in the pose and what your body really feels like it wants. So pillows, couch cushions, books, and of course blankets. So we're going to need two kinds of blankets. Blankets that of course you can cover up with. And I have one of my most favorites. This is a super soft blanket. I'm going to use this probably to cover up. And then also just kind of random, more stiff blankets, or really any blankets that when you fold them up, they provide a bit of support. So I have a whole basket of blankets here. Hold on. So you really can't go wrong with having too much stuff. Almost like you're getting ready to build a pillow fort. So again, if you just joined, we're going to gather up all different kinds of pillows, a couple of couch cushions if you can spare them, or from a chair, blankets, and books to stand in as blocks. And again, you can just maybe watch this the first time around if you want, and then it'll be available on the Mission Yoga Facebook forever. You can go back and then do it when you're actually ready to do a restorative practice. So let's get started. Hi everybody, welcome. So pleased that you're joining me today, whether it's just to kind of watch or maybe come back and do it again later. But I'm really excited to try and share a restorative practice with you at home, again, using anything you can find around the house. So when you feel like you've got a good repository of props that you can choose from, then we're going to get started. Okay? So I realized that this can't really flow like a conventional class that you'd come to in the studio. In the studio, when you're in a pose, you'll be there for sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. And I don't know if you guys want to watch me be in a restorative posture for that long. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go over how to set up the pose, different options for the props, and then I'll let you be there and I'll talk you through it a little bit, ways to relax your body in the pose, different things to think about when you're in the pose. And then at that point, if it's a posture that you want to stay in, then I would actually recommend that maybe you pause the video. And there's a few things also I think would be good for you to have. We talked a lot about the props, but just a few other things. So make sure that you're in really comfy clothing. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? Socks, layers, warm. So make sure you're really warm, nice warm layers, comfy layers, real stretchy pants, or at least make sure the room is warm. And again, really loose, comfy clothing, warm, comfy clothing. Now, I'm not playing any music, but I recommend maybe if you go on Pandora or Spotify, or even if you just have a CD or a playlist that you have of really relaxing, soft, kind of ambient melodic music that you can play in the background. It's not absolutely essential, but it does sort of help you let go. Sometimes in the silence, the brain starts to fill in and your mind might start to wander. So maybe find some music that you could put on. And then what brought me to this is, like I said, once I set you up in the pose, if it's a pose you want to stay in, you can always pause the video and be there for a while. I would say get like the timer on your phone, get an egg timer from the kitchen, just something that'll time the amount of time that you're there. And of course, that's not a requirement. You can stay in the pose for as long as you like. But if you do maybe have a limited amount of time, or you want to make sure that you're only spending so much time in a pose or on each side of the pose, then use a timer on your phone or any other timer that you have in your house. Okay. So if you need to gather those things, go grab them and then join me. And again, I'm really happy for you guys to be here. Okay, let's finally get down to it. And of course, this goes without saying, I'm sorry, I keep kind of teasing. You know, we're all home. You might have a whole family that's home with you. Try to find a quiet spot in the house, close the door. Just try to have some time for yourself. It's super important, especially if you're living with other people during this time, that you just get some alone time and some time just to be, which is exactly what restorative yoga is for. You deserve that time. You need it. A little recharge. You can come back to it anytime you need that moment. Even if you just want to do one pose every other day, you don't have to do the whole practice. Just when you feel like you really need it, just come back to this practice and just let go. Okay, so I piled up all my things here. Let me just clear them out a little bit. So I just want us to begin with a reclined bound angle. But the first thing that I'm going to do, I have my mat here. I'm kind of crammed in a corner of my living room, so I apologize for the close quarters. But I'm going to take this just really, really thin, simple blanket. I'm going to cover up my mat just to make it even more comfortable. You don't have to use a mat. You can use a blanket or a towel, but maybe something between you and the floor, if it's a hardwood floor, or even between you and the carpet. So I'm just going to take this and cover up this little section of my mat just to make it softer. And it goes over the edges of the mat, so the parts of me that might be resting on the hardwood floor, then they'll also have a little bit of softness to rest on. I'm going to grab one of my couch cushions that is standing in for a bolster. And I have a couple options here. Now, when we want our bolster, our couch cushion or our pillow, whatever you're using, we want it to be on an incline. There's a couple of options for what we can put beneath it to hold it on the incline so it doesn't just fall flat. Now, of course, we can can use our book blocks. Very heavy, pick them up. So I can put my blocks back there. Blocks, these are clearly books. And I'll give it a try. See if that brings my bolster up high enough. For me, I kind of want it up a little bit higher. So, an even better option is to take another pillow or couch cushion, put that just at the back of your mat. It can be across your mat, it can be lengthwise with your mat, but we're just kind of creating a little sort of lever for the actual support and cushion to then rest on. And if that still doesn't even come up high enough, then I can maybe add in the blocks to that as well. There, okay, so that's pretty good. So I put both a couch cushion and my books. So this is ultimately going to be what I'm sitting back against. I'm just going to give it a little test just to make sure it'll hold me. And that feels pretty good. Now optional is up at the top here where your head is resting. You can add like a pillow from your bed. And I don't want a super big source of support there, so I'm kind of going with that because it's nice and thin. But of course you could also use kind of like a neck pillow sort of thing. I'm just going to see if I like that. And as you're constructing your posture, you might as well check and see if it's feeling how you want it to feel. Okay. Yeah, I like that. It's really coming together. Okay. So, a couple of other things. We want to make sure to support the elbows. So I have these two pillows that are different colors, but they're like the same pillow. I'm going to put one on each side, right along the bottom edge of my bolster. You could also use your books there, if you have more books. I have a ton of books in the other room, but I only grabbed a few of them. But you grab as many books as you need. And then the last thing is I want to support my legs. So I'm going to take this very large wolf blanket, one of my favorite blankets, and I'm going to roll it. So I'm unfolding it a couple of times, and I'm going to try to roll it on the thickest part. So that's a pretty sizable roll. Scoot back until you feel your bolster there behind you, right alongside the backs of your hips. And then whatever you're putting your rolled blanket underneath your knees, slip that underneath your knees. When you're ready, you'll slide back. And if you've been in a restorative class before, you know, once you have everything set up and you're settling in for the first time, then you just kind of scooch around. Move things around as you need to. Make sure the support under your elbows and under your knees is where it needs to be, where it should be. Make sure that your whole back is supported along the bolster. Make sure that your neck and head is supported on the blanket or the pillow. And just notice if there's anywhere else in your body that is really calling out for some support. Maybe see if there's any voids. So if you notice that there's any part of your body that feels like it's just kind of hanging in the air, that's a good indication that you can put an extra prop in there. You can add in a pillow, you can add in a blanket, whatever it is that you can use to fill in that space. So if you are taking on this posture right now, I'm just going to talk you through it. So ignore what I'm doing now. You can roll back onto your back. And like I said, making any adjustments that you need to be more comfortable, to be more supported. Let your eyes fall closed. And now starting to come into the breath. Maybe for the first time today, definitely for the first time in our restorative practice this afternoon. Just really easy, natural, comfortable breaths in and out of your nose. Let your belly rise and fall as your lungs fill and empty. And take a moment to slide your shoulder blades a little bit closer together and then a little bit further down the back of your rib cage. That really opens your heart. And if that adjustment ends up being just too intense, then, soften, relax your shoulders again. Little tuck in the chin, so the back of the neck is long. And always in this practice, making sure that your forehead is higher than your chin. The opposite is more of a stimulating position, and we want to de-stimulate. Breathing mindfully, breathing consciously, in and out of your nose. And I want you to start to pay a little bit more attention to your exhales. Try to really lengthen out your exhales by slowing down your breath. Try to make your exhales longer than your inhales by doing that. And as you exhale, just let yourself sink a little bit heavier and deeper down into your props, into your mat. But just a little bit at a time, just very gradually with each breath, getting a little heavier, a little looser. It's like you're gradually unburdening yourself. Notice if there's any places in your body that need that release, if there's anywhere that you're holding on to tension. If you do notice any spots in your body like that, spending at least a few of your breaths really directing the breath into that area. Imagine the inhales go directly into that part of your body, and the exhales release directly from that part of your body. And keep staying with your breath, keep breathing mindfully. Now, it's only natural that your mind might wander, and it's only natural that you might feel drowsy, you might even feel sleepy, you might even fall asleep at some point. Don't worry about this, especially since you're in the privacy of your own home. If you do fall asleep, it's probably what your body really needs. And if you set a timer for this time, or if you just want to be here, it's our first pose, so you can just spend here a few more moments. Just kind of setting the tone and the stage for your practice here this afternoon, this evening. Relax your jaw. Be aware of how tightly closed your eyelids are. And again, use the healing power, the softening of your breath to be sent into any place that needs that release. And just keep letting go a little bit more, just a little bit. It's very gradual. Don't rush it. Don't try to let go all at once. Just a little bit with each breath. We'll just take a few more breaths here. Again, don't be afraid if we move on, for you to stay as long as you like. This practice this evening is kind of a create your own story. You can stay for as long as you like, leave when you need to. Let's just take a few last breaths here in this reclined position. And just take a last few breaths. Even though we are improvising to a certain extent in the practice this evening or whenever you're doing it, in between poses, when it's time to transition, just take your time. Really take your time. There's no rush. You can always pause it if you need to. Just try to keep your movements really small and soft and slow. So whatever relaxation you've already attained, you're not losing it by getting up really fast or kind of throwing things around. Just really take your time. Just be kind to yourself. Let's take a last breath here. Now again, you can stay, or if you're ready to move on to another pose, at this point, just start to take slightly deeper breaths. Very slightly deeper breaths. Maybe some gentle wiggles in your fingers and toes, or just otherwise kind of stirring in place as feels appropriate, as feels natural to do so. If it's comfortable for you, from being there on your back, you can turn onto one side. If you just want to stay on your back, of course, you can stay there. Just have sort of a little transitionary moment. Getting really slow. I probably did that even a little bit too fast. Just come onto one side. Take a few breaths there. And only when you're ready, come back up to a comfortable seated position. In between these poses, you can take a moment just to sit, just to be, just to breathe, just kind of check in with yourself. And then again, only when you're ready, moving. So our next pose, I'm just going to clear away a couple of the items. I would recommend you lose, if you had any support, a pillow there beneath your neck and head. You can get that out of the way. The blanket that was under your knees, of course, you can just kind of roll that out of the way. The blankets that were, the pillows that were under your elbows, they can actually stay there for right now. The bolster, cushion, what have you, that was under your back, just gently move that out of the way temporarily, because I want to clear all the stuff that I had behind it and underneath it to keep it on that inclined angle, reclined angle. So I'm going to move my books and the other cushion. And let's bring back in the bolster or the cushion, the couch cushion that I've been using as a bolster. Very conveniently for me, it's almost the same size and shape as a bolster from the studio. And then, again, that like matching set of pillows that we had under the elbows, I'm going to just move them right up alongside this bolster. Because I have the camera up really close, I'm just going to scooch everything a little bit closer so I'm not disappearing behind the couch. So this is a very simple pose. It's one of my most favorite postures, and it's partly why it's very simple. The side lying twist. So you can see I'm facing you. I'm turned to one side. You can hopefully see I'm sitting in like a mermaid pose. So I have one hip right up against the bolster, and that's important. Make sure there's not a big gap there between your hip and the bolster. Your hip is right up against the bolster. Your knees are both off to one side, and you can stack them. You can stagger them if you like. You can put something between them. Either way, you're going to place one hand on each side of the bolster for a little twist, kind of turn your belly down, and then melt down onto your side. Resting on one cheek, whichever cheek is most comfortable. If you want a deeper twist, you can turn your face away from your knees. Your arms are resting on these pillows at your sides, but you'll feel it right away. It's up to you to determine if you even need those pillows. So the cushion that I'm resting on is kind of close to the floor, so I might even be fine without those pillows. Just gives, yeah, that feels a lot better. It just gives my shoulder and my elbow kind of room to breathe, just be in a natural angle. You may find that one of your elbows is kind of up off of the mat, especially if you have a really high bolster. And in that case, then you would definitely bring in that pillow underneath your elbow to support it. So, if you haven't already, come on down into your side lying twist. Again, as you settle in, you stay there. I'm going to come up, just keep listening to my voice. As you sink into each pose, you determine if you need more support. You'll feel it right away. You'll just know where you need that support, what part of your body needs it. And again, you're at home, so you can use all the props that you want. Sometimes when we're in the studio, depending on the size of the class, you can only have so many things, but you can go hog wild here and use as many pillows or blankets as you like. So fill in where you need it. And as you're settling into the side lying twist, again, let your eyes fall closed. Start to focus on the space between your shoulder blades, the back of your heart space. And notice how when you inhale, you feel your shoulder blades moving away from each other. You might even feel a little bit of a stretch in your upper back as you inhale. And with your exhales, just let your shoulders drop really heavily towards the pillows, towards the mat, whatever you're resting on. Make sure that you feel that your whole spine is supported along the bolster. Make any adjustments you need to feel that support. Coming back to your breath. And slow, slow exhales. With each exhale, again, sinking in just a little bit deeper. Feeling very secure on the bolster, on the pillows, on the blankets, on the mat. Keep having this sense of just letting go of anything that might be weighing you down with each exhale, just a little bit more. Sending your inhales into the places that might feel kind of stuck or tight. And with your exhales, releasing the source of that, releasing that tension. Just letting go a little bit more with each exhale, Let your head rest heavily on the bolster. Don't be afraid, of course, if you need to switch cheeks at any time. And keep depending on your breath to help you release, to help let go of what really needs to be released. And just taking a few more breaths here, by no means rushing you through this practice. And if there's a posture that just really resonates with you, stay there for as long as you like. Just taking a few more breaths on this side of the pose, this side lying twist. Lengthening out your exhales, slow, slow exhales. Now, because this is a two-sided posture, when you're ready, coming back to the video, unpausing it, if you did, joining us again, just really take your time before you do anything else, just in the posture, taking a few more breaths, maybe slightly deeper breaths, maybe gently wiggling the fingers or the toes. When you're ready, with a slightly deeper breath in, start to slide your hands under your shoulders. Gently press the mat away to lift up. You don't even have to come all the way up, because this is a very simple two-sided pose. All we need to do at this point is switch sides. And just however getting to the other side makes the most sense to you. If you just want to roll over to the other side, again, make sure that your hip is right up against the bolster, no gap there. Hands split on each side of the bolster. And when you're ready with your exhale, just sinking down, side lying twist. Again, resting on whichever cheek is most comfortable. If you want a deeper twist, look away from your knees. Each side of your body may be a little different, so make sure that you accommodate what feels right on this second side of your body. If you need more or less support under your arms, under your cheek, between your knees. Again, make sure to support yourself in the way that you feel that you need it. Don't be afraid to experiment. And you've got lots of props, lots of pillows to work with. And on this second side, it's going to be here for a little bit longer. Again, you guys are down in the side lying twist. I'm just going to talk to you for a little bit here. And coming back to your breath. Just simply the act of breathing consciously, breathing mindfully, has tremendous power to soothe your mind, to soothe your nervous system. Whenever we breathe mindfully, there's kind of a trigger that goes off in your brain, and it causes you to use a more evolved part of the brain. It's also a part of the brain that is directly connected to feeling calm and at peace. So the moment that you start to breathe on purpose, that you intentionally breathe, and especially if you're aiming to really slow the breath down, right away you're setting yourself up to calm down and to relax. And then these extended exhales, these slow extended exhales that you're taking are helping even more to trigger your relaxation response. So slow exhales. As you're taking that slower, drawn out exhale, just sink down, physically sink down a little bit heavier into the bolster, into the pillows, into the mat. Just letting go, just a little bit at a time. And we talk a lot about, or I've talked a lot about, physically letting go. And that's a good place to start. But you can also apply this release to anything else that might be going on for you right now. Any emotions, any thoughts, anything spiritual, energetic, just anything that you are aware of in your being. And there's so many different levels to that. When you're exhaling, visualize what it is that you want to let go. If there's any boredom or anger or confusion or uncertainty, anything that you have going on for you right now, just making the decision that when you exhale, that is something that will be released. It will. Energy follows intention. Energy follows thought. So make that intention and use your exhales. Just let go, whatever it is you need to let go of. It might take some time. It's not a magic thing. It's not going to happen all at once, but just with each exhale, letting go a little bit more. Just take a few more breaths here. Again, you'll hear me say it so many times, but please don't hesitate to stay, especially if you're watching this back later, to stay for as long as you like in any given posture. I'll just take a last couple breaths here. If you're just joining us and you want to jump right in, just in a sideline twist. So I have my bolster just lengthwise with the mat. My hip is right up against it. Just coming down onto one side. And thank you for joining us. We're going to start to change postures now. So if you're in that twist, you can take a couple of deeper breaths here. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, with a slightly deeper breath in, slide your hands under your shoulders. Take your time to press the mat away. Lift up. And don't even do anything right away. Don't worry about your props. Just come to a comfortable seated position. You can even let your eyes stay closed the whole time. Just really soften your face. Just take a few breaths just to kind of check in with yourself. Just reflect and notice on anything that's shifting inside of you, what's changed, if anything. When you're ready, with an inhale, gentle inhale, let your eyes flutter back open. And we're going to move on to our next posture. Again, you can stay in any one of these postures for as long as you like. Our next one is probably my super favorite posture of all time. It is the supported child's pose. Now, of all the postures we're doing today, this might take the most props. So even before we start to go into it, make sure that you have 2 very big pillows or couch cushions. They're going to form the foundation of our posture. So I'm going to pull in my other couch cushion here. The first couch cushion, the first bolster will just go lengthwise with the mat. And I'm actually just going to climb on top of it, because that's where we're eventually going to go. So you're really physically going to straddle it like you're on a horse. I'm going to bring back in my books, acting as blocks. Again, use as many books as you need to. And put that a little bit out in front of me. So not quite right up against this bolster that I'm sitting on, a little bit further forward. The second pillow / bolster then is going to sit on the books and the pillow that I'm sitting on. And I realize I have all these things stacked. I don't know that you can really see it. It's almost like different levels. So there's a pillow on the mat, there's a pillow on top of that pillow, and also on top of the books. Again, I'm going to use my 2 matching pillows, same size, different colors, same size though. I'm going to go on either side of this top pillow. You can also use books or use as many pillows as you need to. Again, there's no limit on the pillows. Use as many pillows as you have available. So for a child's pose, straddling this bottom pillow, I'm just going to bring my chest and belly down, my arms onto those stacked pillows on the sides, and come to one cheek. Now, sometimes the challenge with a supported child's pose is, especially if you have kind of problematic knees. So frankly, this is not up as high as I would like it for my knees, but I will live with it. It's not terrible. It's not doing me any damage. But if you have really sensitive knees and you definitely want to be in the pose for longer than just a few minutes, maybe even upwards of 10 or 15 minutes, then you can also stack up pillows or a blanket, actually. I'm going to use my rolled blanket from earlier. I'm going to add this rolled blanket right onto where I'm sitting. That's much better. And then because I brought the whole thing up, I'm going to add another pillow on top. So everything comes up. The higher it is, the less of a flexion there'll be in your knee. So again, when you're ready, just come down. And it's very dangerous for me to stay there because I get very comfortable very quickly, but you stay there in your supported child's pose. And again, let your eyes fall closed. Just feel all the ways in which you're being held up by your props. You don't have to hold yourself. You can just unburden yourself. You can just let go. Again, you can't help but notice the back of your heart space between your shoulder blades. A little bit of a stretch there as you inhale. And your shoulders drop even heavier towards your elbows as you exhale. Make sure to let your hips sink even heavier down into whatever you're straddling, whatever you're sitting on. Relax your neck. Just let the weight of your head rest heavily on the pillow. Again, always coming back to your breath. Slow down your exhales. Really draw out your exhales. Once again, feel the entire length of your spine supported on the pillow or the bolster, just whatever you're resting on, you know by now. Whatever props you might be using, just letting go onto those props. Just notice what's happening in your body. Is there any resistance? Are there any spots that just really are crying out for extra attention? If so, taking several breaths to send your breaths directly into and from those parts of your body. Just letting go of whatever comes up. Whatever comes up, just letting it go. Slow, slow exhales. Really draw them out. Let all of your focus and attention be on the slowness of the exhale. Just keep letting go. A little bit more with each exhale. And again, you stay here for as long as you like. If you have been in the pose with me so far, this might be a good time for you to switch cheeks. Of course, you can stay on the same cheek. You can switch cheeks as much as you need to. Again, just listen to your body, whatever you need the most. Staying here for as long as you like. But for the purposes of our stream today, I'll just be with you for a few more moments. But again, you stay for as long as you like. And at the time when you're ready to exit the pose, whether it's now or later, and beginning to take some slightly deeper breaths. Maybe give your fingers a little wiggle. Only when you're ready, at the moment you've chosen to exit the pose, again with a slightly deeper breath in, slide your hands back under your shoulders, you can press up. I'm just going to reassume the position for example's sake. Oops. So if this is okay on your knees to be here, then you can stay here. And since you've been resting on one or the other cheek for a little while now, just take a moment, let your chin drop to your chest. Really breathe into the back of your neck. Roll your head side to side a few times. Stay here for as long as you like, as long as it feels helpful, feels good. And then when you're ready, dismount. Come on down. And I've built up quite a pile here, but very comfortable pile. The more, the merrier. But to start fresh, for one last posture, as you might imagine, I'm going to take a final Shavasana. I'm just going to kind of clear out what I've accumulated so we can start fresh from there. So don't mind me. Again, in between your postures, regardless of what I'm doing, stay slow, stay soft. Nothing too jarring. Be lazy. Be ridiculously lazy in between the postures. There's no rush. Okay, almost there. Okay, so for our final posture, a lot of different ways that you can go about this. Very basically, you'll be on your back, support under the neck and head, something under your legs. Now, of course, for the support under the neck and head, again, you've got your pillow from your bed, or as many pillows as feels good there under your neck and head. The options come in, maybe, when it comes to what's going to go under your legs. So just as like, see if you were in the studio, you can pile up your bolsters. The legs would go up on top. Etc. Or if you happen to have, mind me, if you happen to have a folding chair, my secret weapon. Folding chairs are wonderful for many different postures in restorative yoga, but especially when it comes to our final Shavasana. Really get the legs up high. For many people, the distance from the top of the seat to the hip is almost perfect. What you definitely want to do, if you do use the chair, is put a blanket up on top, because most likely the chair is going to be cold, unless you have one of those nice padded, cushiony chairs. And it just feels nice just to have a blanket there under your legs. Now, through all of these postures today, something I neglected to say, and I'm very sorry, if you get cold, make sure you cover up. I had you grab a really comfy blanket, one of your favorite blankets to have nearby. Cover up anytime you need to. That's probably pretty intuitive. You might have already done that. But especially for your final Shavasana, grab one of your favorite blankets, my nice fuzzy wolf blanket. Legs up onto whatever you have opted for the support. Oh, that feels good. And I'm not going to cover up, but you cover up. Cover up with your blanket. Make sure the support that's under your neck and head is just right. Resting on your back. Low back is really sinking down into the mat. Palms up. And that feels really good, so I want to stay there, but you stay there. I'm going to come up one last time and just talk you through it a little bit. So, final Shavasana. I really hope that you find some use to this practice today, even if it's in bits and pieces, even if you just take a little bit of it ever. I'll feel really happy. But at the very least, taking your final Shavasana, and this might be the easiest one because this one can extend on indefinitely. You can just let the video kind of run out and you can stay there. You don't have to worry about pausing it or timing it. You could just be there for as long as you like, as long as you need to. So do one last check-in with your body. Make sure that your neck and head is supported just right. It's not too high, but it's just enough. Make sure your shoulders are moving away from your ears. Heart is open effortlessly. Palms are up to receive. Low back, your whole back, but especially your low back, really sinking down into the mat. And whatever your legs might be resting on, whether it's down on the mat, pillow, blanket, chair, whatever you have there, starting at your hips, hip joints, just slowly send complete release, complete relaxation down your legs, each leg. As you exhale, move that relaxation down through your upper leg, through the largest muscles in your body, your quadriceps, your hamstrings. Just let them get very loose on whatever they're resting on. Completely relax your knees. No tension there. And if you find that there is, send a few breaths into the knees and then out of the knees until it's gone. Keep sending that softening, releasing energy down your lower legs, through your shins, through your calves. Just completely relax those muscles. Relax your ankles. And especially relax your feet. We hold so much tension in our feet and our hands. We're talking about our feet right now. Relax your heels, the soles of your feet, the balls of your feet. Think about each toe, and the whole bit of the toe, from the base to the tip and including the toenail. Every single toe, just relax them. No muscle engagement, complete release. Notice your entire lower half from your waist down. Feel it's still a part of your body, but it's somehow disengaged. It's heavier, it's looser, it's almost as if it isn't there. We're going to bring that same softening release now up to the back of the neck, the back of the head. Relax each ear. Relax each hinge of your jaw, your temples. Relax across your forehead. Relax each of your eyelids. Relax your cheekbones, the hollows of your cheeks. Relax your lips. Again, relax your jaw. And continuing on down, relax your throat. Let that energy keep moving down into your shoulders. Relax your shoulders, each shoulder, and then continue to let that relaxing energy flow down each arm, past your shoulders, through your biceps and triceps, your elbows. Relax your forearms. Relax your wrists. And the same detail, the same attention to detail that you've given to your feet, the same for your hands. Relax the heels of your hands, the palms. Relax each finger and the thumbs from base to tip, and even, sounds silly, relax the fingernails. And feel how your head, your neck, your arms, somehow separate but connected to the rest of your body, and then filling in what remains into your torso. Relax your chest, relaxing down your sternum, wiping down each side of your rib cage, down your back, each vertebrae in the back of your neck, your upper back, mid back, low back. Let your abdominal muscles be completely disengaged. Just let your belly be very loose and soft. Who cares about what space it occupies? Just let it relax. Continuing down into your hips. So joining everything that's been relaxed, your whole body now is one form. And just take a few moments just to breathe as one complete form, at ease, at peace, relaxing deeper and deeper with each exhale. As I've said so many times this evening, you can stay here for as long as you like. Again, I just really hope that there's something about this practice, as unorthodox as it was, something about this practice today that you can really use, even if you come back to it later, even if you just use a piece of it one time. I really hope I can help you guys. I miss you. I miss your faces, your voices. I miss your energy. And I know I'll see you again soon. So until then, thank you so much for joining me today or whenever you do. And namaste.